Hello, gorgeous people. Welcome to this week. How are you? So, today I want to share some things with you about just some experiences I've had. And now we're entering into the world of woo-woo. This is the woo-woo world, okay? But these are my experiences and I think they just might be interesting for you. So I'm going to share them with you. And I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So the theme of this chat is just about the fact that I truly believe that we have a lot of help outside of this realm. I really believe that. And I do believe that everything that's happening here is happening for a divine purpose, and that there's a whole plan here that we can't see and that we can't remember. Yeah. So let me tell you about my experience. So I was talking with the emissaries, okay? And what I'm aware of is that there's nothing that by chance that happens. Nothing, when I look at my life, it's like really, everything was, I've been kind of led to this place. And I was saying to them, the experience that I had with ayahuasca, yeah? It led me to meditate and then led me to you, the emissaries. So I said, which came first? The chicken or the egg? Which came first, ayahuasca or the emissaries? And they said, ayahuasca was just a stepping stone on a process that we've been involved with for a long time. So they said, we've been guiding for a long time, knowing and waiting for you to reach the point where we were going to start to work with you, okay? So I thought, fine, that makes absolute sense, yeah. Because I was drawn to ayahuasca, like, I've got to do that, yeah. So it was just a process to help me to get to, I think, and I think the ayahuasca experience opened a lot of doors, the doors to perception. It was an important part. Yeah, and I also had what's described as the death of the ego, which I needed. And I think that helped as well, because I think these kind of experiences, if you haven't got yourself in control a little bit, I'm not saying I haven't got an ego, but if you've got it way out of control, then it can work out not nicely. Yeah. So I was saying to them, when I leave this plane, when I leave this life, will I be able to go and meet up with you guys, the many, meet up with you on the other side? Okay? And they said, of course. They said, in fact, we'll tell you that we'll be waiting for you on the other side. Okay? Now, what happened at that moment was they did again what they've done to me twice before, which is they gave me a feeling, and I was running at the time, okay? Because when I'm jogging, I really connect. It's incredible. So I'm in the countryside, it's beautiful, and I'm connecting. So they give me this feeling. Now this feeling that they've given me, and it's the third time that they've given me it, is a feeling of, the only way I can describe it is total compassion. In fact, this time it was like a feeling of relief. They said, we're going to be there waiting for you. And I got the feeling, they gave me the feeling of what it would be like to be there meeting them. So this wasn't, how can I put it? And I'm telling you, we're in the world of woo now, okay? So you just have to believe what I'm saying or think, well, he's off his rocker, yeah? So it wasn't me generating the feeling inside. When you kind of get a feel for, I'm making myself sad here, or, that's sad. No, they give me a feeling. The feeling was of absolute relief. It was like, oh, thank God. And it was a thank God that it's true. Thank God there's another side. Thank God this 3D isn't all there is. This is just pretendy, you know. It was like a feeling of absolute love and compassion, and I burst into tears. So I'm jogging, and they just went, "We'll be there," and I went, "Wah!" And I couldn't stop crying, and I was running. It took me it took me a good while to actually calm down, but it wasn't a bad cry or anything. It was like a relief cry, okay? And I was saying to them, it felt so real that I knew it was going to happen. And I knew what it was going to feel like. And it was like, oh, thanks for letting me know that. Thanks for letting me know. And then I was saying to them, I was kind of crying, saying, look, I'm really sorry that I'm sorry that I haven't been able to believe it all the time. I'm sorry that I've doubted that. Because it was so real, I just thought, all right, okay. So I know it's real now. And I was saying, I'm sorry I've doubted it. And they were saying, you don't have to be sorry about that. That's the whole point of being here in 3D, which is what they're saying all of the time now. It just comes out every time we talk. They said the whole idea is you come down and you forget. You can't be in touch with that feeling. You can't feel that. Because if you did, you wouldn't be able to live your life. And it's true that the feeling was so intense that I burst into tears. Imagine having that all the time. You wouldn't be able to function. It wouldn't work. That's a feeling for that side. And I think on that side, because we're in a different kind of state, we can manage that. I'm sure it's very beautiful, but we can manage it. Here in the 3D, I wouldn't be able to manage that. It was so overwhelming. And they said, so it's okay. Expect to have moments of doubt. Expect to have moments where you don't believe. Expect to question, even the validity. I can't tell you how many times I've questioned myself saying, are you off your rocker, Gordon? Is this really happening? Are you really talking to beings on the other side and they're giving you messages? Lots of times. But they said it's okay. We're allowed these doubts. That's the whole point of being here. That's the fun of it. Like, is it really real? Or is it not? Am I making this up? Or what? What? That's the whole point of it. Yeah? And I suppose maybe the end result of getting to a good place is where you just know in your heart that it is real. Without any proof. I mean, I would like, I would like to think, well, I've got some proof because they came and they started moving my body and doing it, but it could just be me. If you talk to a good, somebody who's in a mental asylum, I bet they have exactly the same thing, However, so that was, I say it was the third time. They've done it to me twice before. They've given me this feeling, and for less than a second. And I think it's less than a second because I couldn't handle anymore. I mean, it would just be too much. But it's in a split second. It comes and goes, but it's so overwhelming that I burst into tears. I don't have any choice. I just burst into tears, but it's not bad tears. It's like the first time I asked them, what was it? And I said, was that the love that you feel? And they said, no, we showed you the compassion that God feels for us. Okay? And I thought, well, if that's the case, if that's the compassion that God feels for us, God will never judge us. There was no judgment there. It was just, yeah. The second time they showed me that again. Yeah, and they give me the same feeling. And this time they've given me, it's almost like the same feeling, but just a little bit different of what it's going to be like to be there. And I said, why do you do that? Why do you give me those feelings? I mean, I'm not complaining. I asked them, can you give me them more? And they go, no, we can only give you a certain amount at a certain time. And they said, it's just to help you to remember. It's just to help you to keep the faith. When you're doubting, we'll let you feel it a little bit, and then that it's real again. And because I can't how can I describe it? I feel it, and I can talk about it afterwards, but I can't feel it anymore. I don't know what it feels like. It's a feeling that isn't allowed in 3D. I don't think. Or if it's allowed, it's only allowed in a tiny little splinter. So I can't regenerate that feeling. I can't. I know what it was, but I can't feel it again, So it's really interesting. So there you have it. But then I need to tell you something else. So this is the last bit of woo. This is woo, 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 woo. Okay? So I noticed, and I don't know if you heard me when I was talking with Alan Stockdale, but I noticed that for whatever reason, Jesus, as a name and as a power, kept coming to me and like the need to use his name. So when I was praying, I started to use Jesus' name as well. And I use lots of names and everything, and when I'm giving thanks, and I talk directly to God. But it's almost like I felt that there was something missing, and that I needed to bring Jesus in, okay? So, that I run. I told you I run and I go to a certain place where I give thanks. It's always the same place. And so I was giving thanks. And I said, and it was the first time that I did it, and I said, thank you, Jesus, for everything, okay? And suddenly I heard a voice on the inside, and the voice just said, I'm here, okay? I'm here. As I heard the words, I felt this mega embrace, and it was an embrace, and it was exactly the same feeling again, this feeling of absolute compassion and acceptance. And I felt this embrace, and guess what? I burst into tears again. And it was incredible. And I was saying, and this was the nicest part of it, because I was saying, I'm sorry that I left you. I'm sorry that I turned my back on you, because obviously with my Jehovah's Witness background, all things Jesus and all things Bible and everything were pretty anathema to me. And the voice just said, it's okay. You never left me, and I never left you. We just, you just needed to wait for the right time again to connect or whatever. And that was it, right? So this was about 2 months ago. I haven't talked about it because as it finished, I was crying and it was lovely, and I was having this hug and everything. And at the end, I said to Jesus, all right, I said, I think we'll just keep this between you and I. And I laughed, okay? And so did he. Or whatever that is, okay? But I did ask, by the way, I did say, what kind of Jesus are you? And the voice said, don't get the idea of Jesus mixed up with what this is, okay? That's what it was kind of like, no, it's not the Jesus that you think, okay? But compassion to the nth degree. So I haven't talked about it, just purely because I thought, what else? What are people going to think? I communicate with beings of light that came to me 4 years ago, and now I'm having a chat with Jesus, However, so what happens is this: I talk to the emissaries. My role is with the emissaries, but every now and again I ask to talk to Jesus, and Jesus talks to me. But the messages are very different. They're not the active messages of the emissaries. It's just messages of, and I've had beautiful advice from Jesus, okay? But it isn't something I do all of the time. It's kind of like, I'm more like giving thanks and stuff like that. But when I do have a conversation, it's a beautiful one. So I wanted to share that with you just because, why not? We're in really interesting times, and I don't think I'm alone in having these kind of experiences anymore. Were this 10 years ago, I think, I definitely wouldn't tell anyone. But now I think, well, what the hell? We know we're in this spiritual battle that's going on, good against bad, light against dark. It's very apparent. So there you are. I just think maybe, from the signs that we're seeing, in the sky, around us, everything that we're seeing, I think this is just the time. that they're coming in. And I hear so many other people talking about getting downloads and information and everything. I think that's just where we are. I just put a name to it, and so I've got a name. But at the end of the day, they're just messages that come from the other side. Yeah? So how are you doing? How are you doing? Are you getting messages? Have you been in touch with anyone? Maybe it's time to share, rather than hiding your light under a little bushel. Okay, I love you all. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. I wanted to tell you anyway. So there you are. I look forward to hearing what you think in the comments. Bye-bye.